The mud shelter the sky was dark. Smoke and fire filled the air. The world was no longer safe. A man ran through the forest holding the hand of a small girl. She was only 7 years old. Her name was Lena. The man was her father. His name was Iran. They were running for their lives. Behind them, they could hear the loud buzzing sound of drones. Flying machines sent by the alien invaders. These machines were hunting humans. No mercy. No second chances. Iran knew he had to do something fast. They reached a muddy riverbank. Iran stopped. He looked around. No caves, no houses. Just trees. And wet ground. But he had an idea. A terrible, desperate idea. He turned to his daughter. "Lena," he said softly, kneeling down, "I need you to trust me, okay?" Lena looked scared, but she nodded. Iran quickly grabbed handfuls of wet mud and started covering Lena from head to toe. Her hair, her face, even her clothes. He pushed her gently into a small hole under a tree root and placed wet leaves on top. "You must stay quiet. No sound. No matter what happens, don't move." Lena's eyes were full of fear. She nodded again. A single tear ran down her muddy cheek. Iran stood up. He looked up at the sky. The buzzing was getting louder. A bright light appeared between the trees. The drone was coming. He stepped away from Lena's hiding spot and walked out into the open. His hands were raised. He had no weapons. He was ready to die if it meant his daughter could live. The drone saw him. It stopped in the air, scanning. Him with a red laser. A voice came from the drone. Cold, robotic. Human detected. Prepare for termination. Iran closed his eyes, but then, bang! A loud shot rang out. The drone sparked and fell from the sky, crashing to the ground in flames. Iran opened his eyes, shocked. A man stood behind the fallen drone, holding a large rifle. He wore a long coat, dusty boots, and had a serious face with tired eyes. "Come with me," the man said. Iran didn't move. "Who are you?" "No time," the man replied. "More drones will come." "You're lucky I saw you." Iran ran back to the tree and pulled Lena out from the mud. She coughed softly. She was cold but alive. The man looked at Lena and gave a small nod. "Smart trick with the mud. That hides body heat." "You're not stupid." Aaron picked up Lena in his arms. "Where are you taking us?" "Someplace safe." They followed the man through the forest. He moved fast like someone who had done this before. Lena held onto her father tightly, shivering. After an hour of walking, they reached a small wooden cabin hidden in the trees. There were no lights, no signs of life. But it felt safe. Hidden. The man unlocked the door and motioned them inside. Cabin was simple. One room, some old chairs, a small stove, and a radio in the corner. "You can stay here for the night," the man said. "I'll keep watch." Iran placed Lena on a blanket and sat beside her. "Thank you," he said quietly. The man didn't answer. He sat near the window, watching the dark forest. After some time, Iran asked again, "Why did you help us?" The man looked at him, then turned back to the window. "You remind me of someone I lost." Silence filled the room. Lena slowly fell asleep in her father's arms, her small hand still holding onto his shirt. Iran whispered, "I'm Iran. This is my daughter, Lena." The man replied, "Name's Yarrow." Outside, the night was silent again. But the war was not over. Yarrow knew more drones would come. And worse things too. But for now, in that small cabin, 3 broken souls found a moment of peace. A new chapter was beginning. And deep in his heart, Iran knew this man was not just a stranger. He was something else. Maybe ... The last hope. They had. Morning came slowly. The forest was still. Cold mist covered the trees. No birds, no wind. Only silence. Inside the small wooden cabin, Iran opened his eyes. For a moment he forgot where he was. Then he saw Lena, still sleeping beside him, her muddy face calm now, and in the corner of the room, Yarrow, sitting on a chair, not moving, eyes open. Watching. He hadn't slept all night. Iran sat up slowly. His body ached, but his mind was sharp. He didn't trust easily, especially not after what he had seen in the last year. He looked at Yarrow again. "Did anything happen last night?" Iran asked. "Not yet," Yarrow replied without looking at him. "But they're searching." He stood and walked toward an old stove. He lit a small fire and boiled water. The room filled with faint warmth. He poured water into 3 cups. No tea. "Just hot water. Drink. It helps the cold," he said, handing a cup to Iran. Iran nodded and took it. "Thank you. For yesterday. You saved us." Yarrow said nothing. Lena woke up, coughing a little. She rubbed her eyes and looked around. "It's okay, sweetie," Iran whispered. "We're safe for now." Lena stared at Yarrow for a moment. "Are you a soldier?" she asked. Yarrow glanced at her, then at the broken radio on the table. Not anymore. The cabin was old, but strong. Thick wooden walls. No windows on the backside. A trapdoor on the floor. Iran noticed it. "What's that?" "Old. Escape tunnel," Yarrow said simply. "If they come, we run." "Who is they?" Iran asked. Yarrow looked at him now, eyes sharp. "You don't know what's out there, do you? I've seen the drones. I've seen the ships. I've seen people taken." Yarrow shook his head. "That's not all. The real danger. Where's your face? Talks like your friend. Smiles like your child." Iran frowned. "What do you mean?" "They're learning," Yarrow whispered. "The aliens. They're copying us." Lena stepped back, holding her father's leg tightly. Yarrow walked to the wall and pulled out a faded photograph. It showed a woman and 2 children, a boy and a girl. They were smiling. "My family," he said quietly. "We thought we found other survivors. They called to us. Sounded just like my brother." He paused. His eyes darkened. "But it wasn't him." He put the photo back. "I was too late." Iran felt a chill down his spine. "I'm sorry." Yarrow looked at Lena. "You're lucky she's alive." He walked toward a locked chest and pulled out a small packet of dried food. He handed it to Lena. "Eat slow. It's all we have for now." Lena smiled faintly. "Thank you." Suddenly, a soft sound echoed through the trees outside. Click. Click. Yarrow froze. He grabbed his rifle and motioned them to stay quiet. The sound grew louder, slow, mechanical steps. Then a voice. "Help me. Please. I'm lost. Is anyone here?" It was a woman's voice. Gentle. Weak. Lena moved toward the door. Iran pulled her back. Yarrow aimed his rifle at the door. His voice was flat. "Don't answer. Don't move." The voice came again. "Please. I have a child with me. We're hurt." Lena whispered, "It sounds real." Iran was breathing hard now. "What if it is real?" Yarrow didn't blink. "It's not. That's what they do. They listen to us, record our voices. Use them to get close." Iran looked at the door, heart racing. He wanted to help, but fear held him still. Minutes passed. The voice stopped. The steps faded. Then silence again. Yarrow lowered his rifle. "They'll be back. Smarter next time." Iran stood up. "Why are you doing this? Why are you helping us?" Yarrow didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a small drawer and pulled out an old necklace. A child's necklace with a tiny metal heart on it. "My daughter wore this," he said softly. "Her name was Elia." Iran felt his throat tighten. "She was just like your girl." Yarrow put the necklace back and stared out the small crack in the wall. You don't have to trust me, he said. But if you stay here, you follow my rules, or you both die. Iran nodded slowly. He didn't like the man's coldness, but he understood it now. Trust was a luxury in this world. That night, Lena drew a picture on an old piece of wood with charcoal. It showed 3 people in a small house hiding from monsters. She handed it to Yarrow. He stared at it for a long time. For the first time, he smiled. A small, tired smile. Night returned, darker than ever. Inside the small cabin, the fire was out. The wind had stopped. Not even the trees moved. The world outside felt frozen, dead. Yarrow sat by the window again, silent. Iran watched him from across the room. Lena was asleep between them, wrapped in an old blanket. Her small hand clutched a wooden spoon, her only toy now. Iran whispered, "You haven't slept in 2 days." Yarrow didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the darkness outside. "There's something coming tonight," he finally said. "I can feel it." Iran tensed. "Drones?" "No," Yarrow replied. "Something worse." Hours passed. The room remained silent until a WA sent single quotes to knock knock. Knock. 3 soft knocks on the door. Yarrow stood instantly, rifle raised. Iran reached for Lena, pulled her close. Her eyes opened, scared. Then a voice, a woman's voice. "Please, help me. They're coming. My child is hurt." Lena gasped. "It's the same voice as last night." Yarrow's voice was sharp. "Don't speak. Don't move." Another voice joined in. This one was a child. "Daddy? Are you there?" "It's me, Lena." Iran's blood ran cold. The voice was exactly like his daughter's. Same tone, same pitch. "Same way she said, Daddy." Lena stared at the door, terrified. "That's not me," she whispered. Iran looked at Yarrow. "How did they do that?" "They listen," Yarrow said. "They record voices, emotions. Then they come when your heart is weakest." Outside, the fake voice cried again. "Please, it's cold out here. Open the door. Knock." Knock, knock. Iran wanted to move, but couldn't. His body was frozen. His brain said stay, but his heart said go. Lena whispered, "Why did they do this?" "To get inside," Yarrow said coldly. Then silence. For a moment, it seemed to be over. Then something slid under the door. A small toy. Dirty. Broken. But familiar. Lena whispered, "That's my toy bear." She had lost it weeks ago. Before the escape. Before the forest. How? Iran muttered. Jarrow stared at it. "They've been watching you longer than you think." Iran reached slowly toward the bear, but Yarrow stepped in front of him. "Don't touch it. That's not a gift. It's a message." Suddenly, a scratching noise came from the roof. Tap, tap, tap. Yarrow pointed up. "They're testing weak spots." Iran helped Lena into the trapdoor hatch. "Go down. Stay quiet. No matter what." Lena obeyed, climbing into the dark crawl space. Below the cabin. "I'm going too," Iran said. But Yarrow shook his head. "Not yet. We don't run unless we must. Running leaves a trail. We stay invisible." A loud crash. Something hit the back wall of the cabin. Yarrow aimed his rifle. Then silence again. Only this time, something had changed. The voice came again, inside the cabin, but the door was still closed. "Daddy, it's me. Don't leave me again." Iran turned pale. It wasn't coming from outside anymore. It was behind them. Inside. Lena's voice. Again. Iran turned slowly and saw. Nothing. Just shadows. But he felt it. Breathing. Behind his neck. "Get down!" Yarrow shouted, pushing Iran aside. He fired. The flash lit the room for a second. In that flash, both saw it. A human-shaped figure, but wrong. Too tall, no face, and where the eyes should be. Two small red dots. The shot hit it. It vanished into black smoke. Lena screamed from the trapdoor. Yarrow rushed to her and pulled her up. "We leave, now!" Iran grabbed the radio. It sparked. Damaged. He looked at Yarrow. "Where do we go?" Yarrow opened the metal hatch on the wall. A hidden tunnel. South. "There's an old bunker. Off-grid. If it's still standing, we might make it." Lena cried. "What was that thing?" Yarrow looked down the dark tunnel. "That," he said, "was a mimic." Iran asked, "How many are there?" Yarrow's voice dropped low. "Too many, and they learn fast." He closed the hatch behind them. Darkness swallowed the cabin. The path ahead was narrow, wet, and cold dot as they crawled through the tunnel. Iran looked back once, but he saw nothing. Still, he knew they were being followed, and now even voices could not be trusted. The tunnel was tight, wet, and cold. Yarrow moved fast, leading the way with a small dim light strapped to his chest. Iran followed, carrying Lena close to his body. Her head rested against his shoulder, but her eyes stayed open, scared and watching. No one spoke. The only sound was the water dripping from above and the quiet, shaky breath of three people too afraid to look back. After nearly an hour, the tunnel opened into a cave. The ceiling was low, but it was dry, safe. For now, Yarrow sat down and pulled out an old folded map from his coat. "We're here," he said, pointing to a small red circle. "The old rail station, still underground, no drones." Iran nodded. "What's next?" "There's a hidden supply base about 6 miles south," Yarrow said. "Might still have food and meds." Lena was shivering. "My head hurts," she whispered. Iran touched her forehead. "She was burning. She's getting a fever," he said quickly. "She needs help." Yarrow stood. "Then we move now." They left the cave and stepped into an old subway line. Broken tracks, rusted signs, darkness stretching in every direction. Yarrow moved ahead, scanning with a small handheld device. It beeped softly every few seconds. Iran looked at it. "What is that?" Yarrow didn't answer. He kept walking, but something bothered Iran. Not just the silence, something about Yarrow. The way he moved. The way the machines never came near him. The way he always knew where to go. They walked for hours. Lena's fever got worse. Suddenly, they heard a sound, distant and strange. Not footsteps. Not machines. Something like whispers. Yarrow stopped. "Hide," he said. "Now." They crouched behind a fallen train car. Iran peeked through a crack. Shapes passed by, tall, slim, not quite human. Their skin shimmered like water. Their faces flickered like broken screens. The mimics, but they didn't stop. They passed by. Almost like they didn't see them. Iran turned to Yarrow. "Why didn't they see us?" Yarrow avoided his eyes. "The mud still hides your heat, but not yours," Iran said. "You don't use mud." Yarrow looked at him. "They don't see me the same way." Iran's voice hardened. "Why not?" Silence. Then, without a word, Yarrow turned around and pulled off his coat. On his back, across his spine, was a metallic mark, glowing faintly under his skin. Small lines. Alien symbols. Iran stepped back. "You're one of them?" Yarrow's voice was quiet. "No, not anymore." "What does that mean?" "I worked for them," Yarrow said, "a long time ago." Lena looked confused. "You helped the monsters?" Yarrow knelt beside her. "I helped them build the first trackers. I thought it was for peace. For order." He looked away. "They laid. They used the tech to find humans, to hunt families." "Mine too." Iran's fists clenched. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you would have killed me before I saved your daughter." Silence again. Tense. Heavy. Then Lena spoke. You're still helping us. Iran looked at her, then at Yarrow. Yarrow stood slowly. We're all broken. But broken doesn't mean useless. He turned to the tunnel. We keep moving. They reached an old elevator shaft. Rusty cables. A ladder going up into the black. The supply station is up there, Yarrow said. Stay close. He climbed first. Lena coughed badly as Iran helped her up the ladder. Halfway up, the shaft echoed. Clang. 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 Something was climbing below them. Yarrow pulled Lena up and reached down for Iran. Come on. Iran looked down. A mimic was crawling up the ladder fast. Its body moved like liquid. Its face kept changing. Iran saw his own face flash across it. Go. He shouted. He pushed Lena up toward Yarrow. The mimic screamed, a terrible broken sound, like a child crying and laughing at the same time. Iran pulled himself up just as Yarrow fired downward. The mimic fell. Silent again, they reached the top and locked the metal gate. Yarrow looked at Iran. Now do you believe me? Iran didn't answer. But he didn't argue either. The station was empty. Broken lights, old gear, shelves of food packs. A small med kit. Yarrow handed Iran a vial. It'll help her fever. Iran nodded. He gave the shot to Lena. She winced, but soon her breathing slowed. She fell asleep on a pile of soft clothes. Iran looked at Yarrow. You help them. Now you help us? Why? Yarrow leaned against the wall, tired. Because I remember what it means to lose everything. He opened a small notebook. Inside were names. Many names, all crossed out. Survivors I tried to save, he said. He pointed to the last empty line. I haven't written your names yet. The station was quiet. No buzzing drones. No footsteps. Just the sound of old pipes groaning in the walls and the soft breathing of a sleeping child. Iran sat near Lena, brushing a hand across her forehead. The fever was going down. The medicine worked. For the first time in days, she looked peaceful. Yarrow stood near the far wall, staring at something. A small broken camera mounted on the ceiling. Is it watching us? Iran asked. No, Yarrow said. Not anymore. He pulled out a wire from the wall and crushed it under his boot. Iran stood, arms crossed. It's time you tell me everything. No half-truths. No hiding. Yarrow didn't turn. What do you want to know? Who are you, really? Yarrow let out a long breath. My name wasn't always Yarrow. I was born in one of the early colonies, Orbit Station 12. My real name was Dr. Jail Ron. I was a systems architect. I built interfaces between alien and human tech. Iran blinked. You're a scientist? I was. Yarrow nodded. They needed someone to make the connection, to help open communication. I thought I was saving lives. Instead, I was handing them over. He walked to a rusted locker and pulled out a device, small, black, with a glowing blue screen. This is the first tracker I built, he said, holding it like it weighed 100 pounds. It doesn't just track heat. It reads human thought. Signals, fear patterns. Iran's face darkened. That's how they always found people hiding. Yarrow nodded slowly. But I didn't know they were using it that way. Not at first. He stared at the glowing screen. When I found out, I tried to stop them. I shut down the core network. I leaked codes to the human resistance. He looked down. They found out, and they made me watch as they took my family. Silence. Iran sat back down. I thought I'd seen pain, he said. But I can't imagine that. Yarrow placed the tracker on a table. I've been trying to destroy every one of these ever since. Suddenly, the radio crackled. Iran looked at it. You got it working? I rerouted it, Yarrow said. Only. Short range, maybe a few miles. A voice came through, faint, male, human. Anyone, out there, This is Station Echo. Need assistance. We have children. The signal broke. Iran stood. It's another group. Or a trap, Yarrow said. Lena woke up, rubbing her eyes. What's a trap? Iran knelt beside her. We heard a voice on the radio, baby. It could be real people. Maybe other kids like you. Lena looked up at Yarrow. You think it's bad? Yarrow didn't answer. He picked up the tracker and did something strange. He pressed 2 fingers onto its surface. The screen changed. Now it showed something else. Dots on a map. 3 of them, grouped close, and 1 more. Far away, moving. Toward them. It's not the broadcast I'm worried about, he said quietly. It's what the voice attracted. Iran leaned in. One's coming? Yarrow nodded. Fast. He grabbed supplies. We have to go, now. But the people, Iran started, if they're real, they'll stay hidden. If not, we just got marked. They left the station through a back tunnel, not on the map. Yarrow had memorized it. Hours later, they stopped to rest in an old train. Wreck, metal bent, wires hanging. A place forgotten by time. Iran stared at Yarrow. Why do you still carry that thing? He asked, pointing to the tracker. Why not destroy it? Yarrow held the device up, because I programmed it with one last thing, a secret key. What kind of key? Yarrow looked Iran in the eyes. The kill code, to shut down every mimic brain connected to the hive. Iran stepped back. You could stop all of this? Yarrow's voice dropped. If I find the right spot, the main tower, I can end them. Lena whispered, Then why don't we go? Yarrow looked toward the sky, because once I use it, they'll know. And I won't get a second try. Iran stood silent. Then a question came, sharp and sudden. How do I know you didn't lead them to us on purpose? Yarrow turned slowly. You don't. For a moment, the 2 men just stared at each other. Then Lena stood between them. I trust him, she said softly. He saved us more than once. Iran looked at her, then at Yarrow, and for now, that was enough. The rain came without warning. It fell heavy and fast, washing the dust from the air as if the sky was trying to clean the world. But it was too late for that. Inside a cracked shelter built into a rocky hillside, Iran stared at the tracker screen. The dot that had been moving toward them was now gone. It stopped moving, he said. Yarrow didn't respond. He was staring at something else, a set of deep scratches on the inside wall. They weren't made by tools. They were claw marks. Iran's voice dropped. You think it's dead? No, Yarrow replied. I think it's watching. Suddenly they heard a voice. Help, please. We have children. The same voice from the radio. Lena stood in the doorway, listening. Her face was pale. Eyes locked on the rain. Iran touched her shoulder. Go back inside. It could be another trick. But Lena shook her head. That's not a trick, she said. That voice, it sounded scared. Yarrow looked sharply at her. You don't know that. I do, Lena whispered. I think I've heard that voice before. She turned to them both. I'm going. Iran froze. No, absolutely not. But, she stepped back. People are out there, just like us. If they're real, they'll die if we don't help. Yarrow spoke quietly. If they're fake, you will die. Lena looked at both of them. Then don't let me go alone. The rain masked their movements. They followed the signal Yarrow had traced through forest ruins and down to a broken school building, now half swallowed by the earth. The doors were ripped open. Inside, it was dark, wet, cold, but there were signs of life, footprints, small ones. Lena pointed. See? Other kids. Yarrow raised his rifle. Stay close. A sound came from a hallway, then a whisper. Is someone there? Iran stepped forward. We heard your call. We're not mimics. A head peeked out. A boy, maybe 9. Then another. 2 girls. All covered in dirt and fear. They rushed toward Lena. She smiled and hugged them tightly. Yarrow kept his eyes on the shadows. They're not alone, he said. From behind the far wall, something moved, not walked, not ran, moved like smoke and bones and static. Yarrow yelled, "Go! Get the kids out!" Iran grabbed one child in each arm. Lena helped the others, but Yarrow didn't move. He turned and faced the hallway. The mimic appeared, tall, skin flickering, eyes burning. It spoke in Yarrow's voice. "Run all you want. They always come back." Yarrow stepped forward and smiled. "Not this time." He pulled a tracker from his coat. The mimic lunged. Yarrow pressed the button. A pulse of light shot through the room. For a second, everything stopped. Then a scream. Metal, inhuman, glitching, filled the air. The mimic convulsed and dropped to the floor. Twitching. Iran turned back. "Yarrow?" Smoke filled the hallway. Yarrow stood in the center, breathing hard. His coat was burned, his arms shaking. "It worked," he whispered. Iran ran to him. "You're bleeding." Yarrow looked down. His side was glowing, not red, but blue. The mark on his back was overheating, burning through his skin. He fell to one knee. You need to leave. Get the kids out." "No," Iran said. "You come with us." Yarrow grabbed his arm. "You don't get it. I used the code. The signal's out there now. They're coming. Every last one of them. I bought you maybe an hour." Lena ran back to them, tears in her eyes. "You're not staying." Yarrow gave her a soft smile. "You were the first child to smile at me in 2 years. That's something I wanted to protect." He handed Iran the tracker. "Finish what I started. Find the tower. Destroy the link." Iran looked down at the device, then at Yarrow. His voice broke. "You sure about this?" "I'm already dead," Yarrow said. "But now I get to choose how." Iran carried the tracker. Lena held the children's hands. They didn't look back. Behind them, the school collapsed in flames, and somewhere inside, Yarrow faced the darkness alone, but not with fear, with purpose. He closed his eyes, leaned back against the wall, and whispered one last word: family. The sky was no longer dark. It was broken, glowing red from fire, scattered with thick smoke, but there was something else too. Something rare. Light. Morning. After so many nights running and hiding, the sun had finally returned. Iran stood at the top of a rocky hill, the cold wind hitting his face. He looked down at what remained of the valley: destroyed drones, empty camps, silence. Behind him, Lena and the rescued children huddled near a fallen tree, waiting. They were tired, hungry, but alive. Yarrow's sacrifice had bought them time, and time was everything now. Iran opened his hand. In his palm was the last working tracker, now glowing dim blue, the way it had glowed when Yarrow said his final goodbye. He closed his hand and turned toward the road ahead. 2 days later, they found the tower, hidden in the mountains, covered in vines and ice, built like a needle pointing at the stars. The source of it all, the main signal tower. The brain of the mimic hive. It was taller than anything Iran had ever seen. It hummed quietly, like it was alive. The children stayed behind at the base. Lena stood beside Iran as he approached the entrance. "You don't have to come," he told her. "I want to," she said, "for Yarrow." Inside it was cold, mechanical, silent. The walls pulsed with soft light. Blue veins of energy moved through the metal like blood in a body. At the center was a terminal, alien, but somehow familiar. Iran placed the tracker into a small glowing socket. Nothing happened. The room began to shake. A deep voice filled the air. "This signal is forbiddance. Who are you?" Iran stood tall. "I'm no one important." He looked at Lena. I'm just a father. He pressed the red button. The screen blinked. Signal accepted. Initiating final purge. A sound filled the air, like metal screaming. Then cracking. The tower shook harder. Outside, the children watched as the clouds above began to twist. Drones fell from the sky like dead birds. All across the valley, the machines stopped. The mimics screamed one last time and went silent forever. It was over. 2 weeks later, the cabin was rebuilt. Not perfectly. Not clean, but safe. Wood from the forest. Fire in the stove. Blankets on the floor. Iran stood by the window, watching the wind push the trees gently. Lena sat at a table, drawing on the back of an old map. Children laughed in the next room. This place, once a hiding spot, was now a home. On the wall above the fireplace hung a photo. Burned on the edges, faded with time. It showed a man in a long coat, standing in front of the broken school, holding a rifle in one hand and a smile. On his face, Lena had written something under the photo in big letters. He wasn't our real family, but he loved us like one. Next to the photo was something else. Yarrow's notebook. Iran opened it every night. It still had names. Many crossed out. But now, new names were written at the bottom. Not crossed. Not forgotten. Living. Surviving. Later. That night, Iran stood outside the cabin. The stars were clear. The sky was finally quiet. Lena came up beside him, holding 2 mugs of hot water. You think he's still out there somewhere? She asked. Iran smiled. No, I think he finally got to rest. Lena looked up at the stars. Do you think other people will come here? Iran nodded. Double quotes, yes. Survivors will hear the signal. They'll come. And when they do? He looked at her. Will. Be ready. Like Yarrow was. Lena nodded. We'll help them. Iran smiled, took her hand, and looked back at the warm light coming from the cabin window. A place that once saw fear now held hope.